How's it going, folks? It's Lobo and welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of Daredevil. And I don't mean to quote hella on this, but
oh, I've missed this.
I'm just so excited for this next episode and I hope you guys are as well. Just quickly before we begin today's video, I want to mention to those interested, I will be dropping my first episode reaction to Amazon The Boys on Tuesday. So with that being said, just every Tuesday, I will be uploading a new episode of The Boys on my channel following the formula of one episode per week. Same with Daredevil. Every single Sunday, I will have another episode for Daredevil, and Tuesday will be The Boys. And in the future, we're just going to have more series coming along throughout the week, so I hope you guys are excited. And without further ado, let's get started here on episode 2 of Daredevil. Body in the dumpster. Is that Matt? Yeah. Oh my god, bro. I've only heard it twice, but this has to be one of my favorite intros for any show I've ever seen. I love it visually and the sound. It's so ominous and theatrical in a sense, but it also gives you the degree of sort of mythology. It's mythical in a way, and it's quite beautiful. So seeing that all culminate in this little intro is just so spectacular. So many layers into it. I don't mean to sound like Shrek going on with the layers, but it's good, man. Oh, it's Ahsoka.
Sobe. Suba arriba.
Just don't call an ambulance. Just do it yourself. Maybe she's a doctor. Oh shit! That scared me.
No calls.
It's okay. You might have been stabbed.
I have to leave.
What a beast.
Does it hurt?
It don't tickle. Go get the kid. Stitches.
Oh yeah.
Better get the scotch.
I always gotta bust that out.
It's for you.
Really?
You think I want your hand shaking like last time? So you watched the fight?
Man, that's gotta be prosthetics. That looks really good.
You got all this for losing? It ain't how you hit the mat.
It's how you get up. That's right.
Something fishy about that money. But I love that at-home remedy parallel to past and present day. They did that in the first episode too, and I always love that little callback to his origin.
Oh, you know I'm still here, right?
Serious, what are you still doing here?
I have work to do.
What work? We don't have any clients.
Shit's not gonna unpack itself.
This.
I just don't feel like going home.
Probably still scared.
Big fan of the not thinking.
You will fit right in here.
Should we call Matt?
Sure. Yeah, let's see what he's up to.
You see my face?
Yeah.
Great.
Your outfit kind of sucks, by the way.
Work in progress.
Do you mind telling me how a blind man in a mask ends up beaten half to death in my dumpster?
The less you know about me, the better.
Claire. Don't suppose I get to know yours. All right, I'll call you Mike.
Mike?
Close.
You're in the hospital. I'm right here with you.
Everything's so loud.
I'm right here with you.
It's Dad. Here, feel my face. Feel my face.
Damn, his other senses are going wild, trying to compensate.
I can't see.
It's all right. It's all right, man. It's all right.
I can't see.
You've got air in your chest. It's collapsing your lung. I'm gonna relieve the pressure, but I'm gonna need you to hold still.
Oh no, it's gonna be a needle scene. I know how this works. I'm not overly fond of needles.
This is gonna hurt.
I could never be a doctor.
2 days ago, they pulled a kid out of the back of a van. Beat his father while he watched.
Jesus.
End of last episode.
They were waiting for you.
And I walked right into it.
But you're blind.
There are other ways to see.
This is what you do. You make life difficult for bad men. No offense, but you don't seem to be very good at it. So these men that took the boy, they're out there right now, looking for you.
Does he hear something?
Mike?
Someone's coming.
Wait, what?
There's someone in the building. A man going from door to door.
How do you know that?
He's on the 3rd floor already. Smells like premium cigarettes and discount cologne.
You can smell a man on the 3rd floor?
Those senses are so damn good, man.
There are some things I haven't told you about me, Claire.
You haven't told me anything about you. All I know is you're very good at taking a beating.
How'd you do?
I tagged him a couple times.
It's a tough break.
You have our condolences.
And you're young yet. Plenty of time to have more kids.
What can I do for you boys?
It's 3-1 that you go the distance. You drop in the 5th, we're clearing 70%.
He don't want to do it, he don't do it. Man makes his choice, and we make ours.
I go down in the 5th.
There you go.
That wasn't so hard.
Kind of had the sense it was sort of staged, the way he kept losing and getting a shit ton of money.
Who is it?
Is it though?
What kind of disturbance?
Armed robbery. Some dickhead in a black mask shot up a bodega on 38th. Owner put up a fight. Perp fled on foot, leaving a trail of blood in this direction.
No. Sorry.
This guy's definitely a
Just being thorough.
liar.
You have a good night, ma'am.
How would a police even get that story? That's how you know it's fabricated. He's just lying.
Are you right about that cologne? Does he dip himself in that crap?
He didn't believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Алло, привет. Это я, Семен.
Yeah, see, speaking Russian.
Дурак, давай.
Holy shit, bro. This is like the Dark Knight when he jumps on Scarecrow's van. The timing. Holy shit.
What are we going to the roof for?
Last chance of someone in the building hearing him scream.
He's not dead? After he dropped a fire extinguisher from like 30 feet on his head?
With the liens, and as a result, we get to drink for free.
You absolutely do not get to drink for free.
But this is my employee, for your information, and we are not on a date. Are we on a date?
Definitely not.
Okay, good.
And a man broke into my apartment and tried to kill me. He dented the wall where he bashed my head into it. I don't see the city anymore. All that I see are its dark corners.
Okay, I find a guy in a dumpster who turns out to be some kind of blind vigilante who can do all this really weird shit. Like smell cologne through walls and sense whether someone's unconscious or faking it.
Why'd you help me, Claire?
EMTs bring in a 19-year-old waitress said she screamed and screamed, and a man in a black mask heard her. And he saved her life.
We must descend from the fear.
Either you're actually reading all that, or you're making it up as you go along. I don't know which is more impressive.
Thurgood Marshall.
Who says I'm even gonna get hit?
We're Murdochs. We get hit a lot. We get up. Right, Dad? We always get up.
Oh, it's the same poster. That's what it is. At the end of last episode, it was that poster, but I didn't recognize the first name. It's this fight.
Good. All on me. Win by knockout.
You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure too.
Account's in your name?
No, none under my name. It's under Matthew Murdoch.
Matthew, got it.
Yeah, thanks.
Damn, going behind their back just to help out his son.
Maddie's gonna need you. More than ever. Look after him, okay? And I know what I'm asking here. Just once. I want Maddie to hear people cheer for his old man.
Aw, damn.
Just once.
I don't get the sense that it ended well.
We are now filled with mighty eel strength. Matt! Come on!
The poor neighbors, man.
We're staying out to the sunrise.
Oh no. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, hi, friend.
Oh.
Sorry.
We're really sorry. Thank you. I needed this. I really needed this.
This city's beautiful.
I wonder if Matt can hear them, or if he's like close and he's listening to their conversation. I think he is. We're close. We're pretty close. I mean, it was a cool transition, but I don't know if you can hear them. Damn, he dressed Claire up.
He's not dead yet. He will be.
Why did you take him?
Figured you'd come running.
And after I was dead?
Sell the kid.
I was telling the truth on that one.
I know.
You gotcha. But go ahead. Keep hitting me. Let's see who drops first.
Going through here, right above the eye. That's a supraorbital foramen. You want to go in right under there.
What the hell? Oh my god, she signed up on this? Yo.
It's not just the boy. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. Where is he?
Underneath Striker Restaurant. 11th and 44. They'll be waiting for you. If you're alive.
Knock his ass out.
They have to watch what they do, Jake.
Oh my god!
You landed in the dumpster, you pulled me.
Is he dead?
He'll live.
Damn, bro. He's a bit like Batman in that regard. He'll put you in the ER for close to a year, but he won't kill you.
I'm thinking if I make it through the night, I may need some help getting patched up.
I don't believe you enjoy this.
Dude, man, I'm telling you, the transitions in this show are so well done. Damn, Houston.
The ferocious display by the more seasoned Murdoch. Creel goes down. He's not getting up. Needed.
He actually won? He's got to get the hell out of there. Don't tell me they kill him because of that.
Oh, hang on there, son. What's the hurry?
I think that's my dad.
Jesus, Ray, the kid's blind.
Daddy! Daddy!
Oh, you see the little strip of red underneath the door? Oh shit, that's like a real red room. Are we gonna get a fight scene? Oh shit, is this the hallway fight I've always heard about? Man, bro, this is a one-shot, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Matt's injured as hell and he's still doing this. I love when he does that thing. I love his acrobatics. Jesus, man. You can tell the camera work they used to make it appear as though it's a one-shot, but the way they orchestrated that with, like, it rotating and shit, that was very well done. And I love how you could see him, like, tiring a bit. I don't mean to talk over it, but I just love how, like, realistic it was and stuff. I hate camera breaks, and they're just like, one shot, baby!
Let's get you home here, Dad.
Don't look down, I just mopped the floor with these guys. Dude, imagine if he wasn't, like, injured to the brink of death. I mean, he still kicked the shit out of them, but still. And it's over. Oh, no, don't you dare play the next episode. Get out of there. Alright, so going fresh off that reaction, the reason why I was saying is that the hallway scene, because I've heard time and time again about how Daredevil has this sort of incredible display of his fighting technique and the sort of grit of the show. It all culminates in one particular scene that takes place in a hallway. So that's why I was wondering, is this the hallway scene? And I think it is, but I didn't expect it to happen in the second episode. They, like, really set the tone and the bar for this show, like, fresh out of the gate. So I love that we're seeing this just right off the bat in the second episode, start of the show, start of the series, first season. Like, that's crazy how they're coming out swinging so strong in terms of trying to make a great show. So that's honestly why it's so well received by everyone I know and everyone I've seen on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. Everyone who's ever talked about the show, I have really never seen anything negative about it. So seeing it all in full display in its many layers and really experiencing it, I'm able to understand what everyone else is talking about and why there was such a massive trend towards remaking the Daredevil show, but continuing it with Charlie Cox and obviously a bunch of the main cast as well. And that fight scene was very good, but I am going to admit that it's not what I'm accustomed to, because I've always seen sort of very well choreographed fights. I'm not saying that this wasn't, but the way they do it in movies and other shows and other sort of adaptations or whatever you're watching, they try to make it this, like, flawless and immaculate thing where it's so well played out and orchestrated and you can see sort of the technique in it, versus this is more like a realistic, very gritty approach to things. And I love that they're going for it because it's a different take, but it also falls in line with the show's tone, where it's really sort of condensed on the ground and you feel like you're in the thick of it. Like, it's very personal in that regard. And as I was saying, watching it, you could see them sort of tiring out. You could see the goons, if you want to call them that, getting back up, rejoining the fight, even though they're injured, and Matt himself is injured, but it still continues. And the way they pan the camera as if it was a one-shot, is technically not a one-shot, but just through the way it looks, kind of like how they did the techniques for 1917, it's like creating that one continuous shot. And I absolutely love when they do that. One of my biggest issues with the Dark Knight trilogy, if you don't know, right now, it's currently my favorite trilogy of all time. I absolutely love it, but I think one of the lowest points in it is the fight choreography and his combat, because there are just way too many quick cuts when it came to his fighting. Like, you'd throw a punch, we'd cut to like a different pose in him. It was just too much on the eyes. It kind of felt like a strobe light effect. But here, all his fights have had continuous takes, and you can definitely tell they put so much work into how they wanted to be seen on the screen. So I admire that dedication and them really giving all they have to, and especially Charlie Cox, because I'm pretty sure obviously there has to be some sort of stunt double here and there, but for the most part, I believe he mostly did his own stunts. I mean, it looks like him. I know I'm going off his physique and the lower half of his face, but I still believe that it's him. So that dedication from not only the team creating the show and the people planning out the fight, but him as well as an actor, I really love that they give the fans this continuous shot, and it's very well done and completely fits with the realism and, again, that gritty sort of visceral approach they're taking to how they experience violence in combat. Alright, so there we have it. That was episode 2 of Daredevil. And now starting off, I want to say I read all of your comments from last episode, and I appreciate not only you guys taking the time to leave a comment on my channel, but the fact that you guys leave such great information for me, and I really appreciate that. And I always ask for no spoilers, and you guys do a phenomenal job at not spoiling things, but manage to tell me things that I specifically asked for. So a lot of great information from your comments that was last episode. And in that regard, I can see it come to light in here because learning about Matt's abilities was a bit of, not confusing for me, but I wasn't fully aware of how extensive they were, because not only does it account for his hearing, but other senses as well, excuse me. As you could see here, the scene where he was on the couch with Claire, and then he said, the guy, I can smell him. He's got a lot of cologne. And I was like, oh, the sense of smell, kind of like Wolverine a bit. But other people, again, in the comments were saying it's not just his hearing. It has to do with his smell, and his other senses are sort of really revved up. And I just had no idea to which degree they were. I've seen ample time so far in the first 2 episodes of his hearing being extraordinary, where he's hearing things that are happening. I don't even want to put a distance number on that, because for one, I'll probably be wrong, but it will probably be less than what it actually is, because it just never ceases to amaze me how really, I wouldn't say OP in regards, but how incredibly skilled he is for his own assets. So things that were happening would appear to be like a block away, like he could hear it. I'm just like, that's crazy. And he heard someone 3 floor above, so you could smell them. So all those little details, again, it just really reminds me of a Witcher, where displaying that extra superhuman senses and stuff, but it makes complete sense for him. I'm not aware of sort of the chemicals that were used to create Daredevil, not like as in a lab, but during his accident. I don't know what specific chemicals that was. I don't know what the origin is on that. I don't know if it came from like a famous Marvel lab. I'm not going to say like Oscorp or Stark Industries, but if it was from some company that worked on... See, I'm getting into like a little bit of the gray area here, but I'm just wondering what was in those chemicals that would sort of grant him his abilities, because obviously that composition had to have had some play, and it wasn't just he went blind, so his own body gifted him these abilities. So seeing that come to fruition and seeing it on full display and being able to witness it for myself, I just think it's so cool to see, and it makes me a little bit jealous because it's so damn cool. But of course there's a price to pay in all of this, and I love the sort of duality and the relationship of it, where it's both a gift and a curse. And it's so incredible to see when you apply that to real life and comic books, because I think it's a fabulous blend where, as I mentioned, the gift and the curse, that relationship, but it's grounding it in a fantastical way, because you have this extraordinary person with these superhuman senses that no other person can do, but it also leaves them with this sort of hindrance and negates them being this sort of, I would say, perfect figure, in the sense where it's just almost like they're flawless and they're just too gifted. But the way it grounds it with him also having his difficulties from really not having any vision, it makes it both realistic in a sense, but it also makes it not alien, not too unfamiliar. So being able to have some connection to that from a humanistic standpoint is just, it's like a beautiful scene and story altogether. So I really admire his origin and the way he's been written throughout years, because I'm assuming here that they really played on how accurate this is to comic interpretations. And just more so with what you guys said in the last episode, and just from what I've seen in both episodes so far, it does make sense that his sense and sort of reflex would be greater than Peter Parker's, which is just, it's a Spider-Man fan. Obviously, Batman's my big boy. He's my number 1, but Spider-Man comes number 2, and I absolutely love Peter Parker. So for me to admit that equality of another hero is better than one of my favorites. It's sort of an attack on my heart. I wouldn't say like pride, but it kind of pains me to say, but it's something that I can accept because the character of Matt Murdock and Daredevil is really growing on me, and I was always open to it, so I'm very excited to see how it evolves, and I have a feeling that he's going to be up there. By the time I finish this series, I really have a feeling that he'll be up there with one of my favorite characters, but again, just mentioning that he has a greater sense and reflex and sort of reactionary ability than Spider-Man, it speaks volumes, because that is no mere sort of display of ability. That's an incredible feat, and for the sake of his character and his story, it completely makes sense with the idea of him being blind, and it's sort of this real heavy overcompensation and all his other senses to account for this one sort of minute problem with the biology. So yeah, it's so damn cool. But just seeing him slowly grow on me, I just don't worry so much. I definitely think he'll be up there. I don't think he'll ever overtake Spider-Man, definitely not Batman, but this is definitely a character that I could imagine myself like having a shirt for, a poster for. I only get posters and shirts and stuff for characters I really, really like, or if it's just sort of broad, where it's Marvel or DC, but like individual shirts, maybe one day. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. But again, just so far with these first 2 episodes, I'm absolutely loving everything that they have to show in terms of the story, the writing, the characters, and most definitely the tone above all else. So in the episode, this plot, we did see a bit of both sides of the story, with Matt doing more his hands-on work, his vigilante work, rather. Yeah, this whole episode, I don't think we've seen him once as his lawyer side. I mean, he was injured for the entirety of it, and he was always fighting. But then you cut to Foggy and Karen, and they were out having drinks, having a good time, and it was a very touching scene where she was talking about how she's still frightened, and essentially her whole world is shook. And she has her eyes open to this new light, this darkness in people. So it's scary when you comprehend it and try to apply it to yourself, but it's also realistic, and I wouldn't say heartwarming, but it's definitely emotional in the sense, because that sort of innocence is being lost. Even in adults, you can still have a sense of innocence, and it's the experiences that really define and shape you. So seeing her struggle and go through hers and try to evolve and live with it I think that's a great story, and I love that Foggy's there for her as a friend. I'm in my head I was kind of debating, because he's such like a jokester, so I don't know if he's like trying to hit on her or he's just like making a joke out of it. I don't know. I'm just gonna assume on him that it was just all for fun, but I don't know, man. But I just, their relationship is very good. I said in the first episode, I was surprised by how much she was in it. But then after its conclusion, I was like, okay, they were setting her up. She's probably a character from the comics, but if not, she was created for the purposes of this show. But she is going to be heavily involved with future episodes. So that continuity is there right off the bat. She's in episode 2. She's still sort of an assistant in their firm, even though they're still getting set up. And as I was mentioning in the first episode, I felt like she had a bigger, I wouldn't say connection with Matt, but I don't know. I just felt like there was a little like tingling or whatever. It's not really important to me, but if that's like a Daredevil relationship, I know fans are probably loving that, but I feel like there's something there, and she would probably be more into Matt. I don't mean to do Foggy dirty, but that's just how the impression I get from that whole situation. And I'm still so curious to see how their sort of trio evolves. I'm not saying that in terms of their relationship, but more so, how successful are they? Because they are aspiring lawyers, and they really want to not only do good, but they want to make money. They got like no clients, and she needs money too. So I want to see how far they're going to go. I don't think they're going to be like rich, successful, and all that, but I feel like they're both intelligent. It's pretty clear Matt is way more, I wouldn't say gifted, but he way more experienced in the regard of doing lawyer shit and law stuff. See, I didn't go to law school, so I don't know what the hell words to use. But he's clearly more intelligent and more suited to this job than Foggy is. Again, no offense to Foggy. He's just kind of getting outshined by Matt left and right, but I really want to see how he's going to progress, because he certainly has the gifts, but is his vigilante life going to negate him from living his own personal life? And that's one of the things I always love in characters like Peter Parker. It's so hard to live two different lives. Same thing with Batman. Bruce Wayne is having the duality, the two characters, the two personas. You have to find a balance in between both of them and not have one take over the other. So I always love when they presents these sort of inner conflicts where it comes to, am I doing enough good, or am I betraying my own life where I'm still entitled to live a bit? So I want to see if they're going to explore that sort of idea a bit, because I certainly would love to see something along those lines. Again, with these sort of not minor characters but reoccurring characters, I don't know if we'll see Claire again, possibly just because Matt said, I don't know if it was a joke. It could be a joke in the sense too, but it also could be not necessarily a tease, but a little, I would say, foreshadowing, where he said, where's your address? Because I know I might need someone to patch me up again. So I just get a feeling that Claire might not be like the unofficial team doctor, so to speak, but I enjoyed her character. It was a little bit weird for me because you have the sense that something else is going on, because first of all, they found a blind guy covered in blood in a black mask in a dumpster, and instead of either calling an ambulance to help out just a random person or being the sane people, where you see a guy in a black mask in a dumpster covered in blood, you'd call the police probably more so than an ambulance. So they did neither of those things, and they brought his body up into their apartment. So I was like, oh, this is a little sketchy. Maybe she's a nurse, possibly, and she's like, oh, he might die by the time we take him to the hospital, so I'll do it myself. But no, we revealed in the episode that it has to do with what she heard about them, and I love that interaction because it's enabling us, like the viewers, to understand how this fits in the timeline. So he said it was 2 days after the end of last episode when the child got abducted, but the more important thing is where she was saying all the, you can call them bad guys that were in the hospital with the 9 broken bones that she operated on, or at least heard of. They said they got attacked by a man in a black mask that thought what they were doing was wrong and decided to take the law into his own hands. And then I think the other one was a woman whose life that Matt saved when she was being attacked by, I think, her boyfriend in an alleyway or something, and she screamed and he heard her. So hearing Claire talk about his stories, it really paints the picture of, again, a hero in a sense, but obviously one darker, more so like a guardian, watchful protector. I'm not going to quote the movie here, but a huge parallel to that, and I just love it. But really seeing it here be sort of portrayed, there's a heavy emphasis on not mythology, but it has to play with religion and more so these fantastical, very, very elaborate ideas of the spirit, in a way where you have not only religion in the sense of they're talking about it, like Catholicism and his father with the cross, and always having sort of confession booths with the priest, as we've seen in the first episode, and I get the sense that he is a very religious man, and that was no doubt came from his father, but also seeing it visually with how it appears. He's Daredevil, and he said in the first episode, watch out for the Murdoch boys, they got the devil in them. And it's not just the appearance of his mask or things, but just the way the intro is even shot with, again, the cross and the blood and the church, and I think there was even one of like a gargoyle or demon and stuff, but it's really, again, playing on the idea of mythology, that more fantastical element. So seeing that all blend together, when Claire talks about Matt, it leans into that a bit, because you get the sense of a man in the black mask doing all these things. He's not just a hero or some random civilian doing what's right. He's almost this mythical figure in the dark. So I loved playing on sort of hiding in the shadows and being this figure or beacon in a way. So seeing that symbolism sort of meet realism is really cool. And of course, now the thing I'm wondering with that is, as I was saying, again, just a lot of similarities between a lot of famous characters I know, in particular Batman, but there's a heavy difference for them. I will admit that. There is definitely a heavy difference for them. But one thing I am wondering is, does Daredevil kill because he said he didn't kill the guy. Originally, I thought he killed the guy when he dropped a fire extinguisher on his head from that high up. I was like, Jesus, man, you could see the blood. He like cracked his head open, and then he didn't die. Then he threw his ass off a building, and I was like, oh my God, he killed him there. I didn't think he was gonna do it. It's kind of like when Steve Rogers had the Hydra guy with the glasses, the bald dude. You know, he was in so many movies, but I just don't remember his name. And he's like, you know, this isn't your style. And he's like, oh, you're right. It's hers. Then Natasha kicked him off the roof. Obviously, Sam came and saved him. But I was thinking, is it going to be something like that where it's really not Matt's style to kill someone? But then he dropped his body off the roof, but he landed in the dumpster. So it's like, okay. Is it like Batman in the regard where he really will just terrorize the shit out of criminals, break bones, intimidate, and sort of terrorize in the sense where you leave them with nightmares, you instill that fear, and I think it's something similar to that. I'm unsure if he will ever kill in the series or if he just does kill in the comics. So for those of you watching, if you want to let me know, I would appreciate that, because I'm very interested to see where his line is. Here's the thing, because I watch so many different heroes, and there's Marvel and DC, and there's just so many complex characters. I just want you to like really get the sense of where I stand on this sort of unofficial no killing rule. There are certain characters where I believe they shouldn't kill, but for the most part, I'm completely fine. I know it sounds weird, but well, not really. I mean, this is fake. This is non-fiction. This is fiction, and it's a comic book adaptation, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm completely fine with characters killing their enemies. And if Matt kills, I'm completely fine with that. But I just want to know, as I mentioned, the line, because there is this unofficial line. It doesn't necessarily have to do with killing, but sort of this inhumane and very animalistic ways of going about it. You've seen it there where he was like torturing the guy, threatening him and throwing him off the building, hitting him in the head with a fire extinguisher. Like, it's very brutal. So I'm wondering if he will go any more above that, like really approach that line of not insanity, but really nihilistic sort of chaos and real aggression. So I'm really curious about how this all plays out when it comes to how he approaches villains and evil in a way, the no do-gooders in a sense. So if he doesn't have a no killing rule, that's okay, and if he does, that's also okay. But I just want to know how his standards are set. Like, what are his own standards? Because he said he enjoys it, and Claire says, I don't believe you. And Matt didn't answer. And in my heart, I believe that he also doesn't enjoy it, but he just has to maintain this sort of illusion of this mysterious figure. As I said, playing on the mythology of creating this symbolic creature in the night, even though he's not really dressed up like a creature. I mean, when he has his suit, he's a devil in a way. But really creating this identity that is not in the same sense of a human. It's displaced from that. It's some entity in itself. So seeing that really come to evolution, and I would really love an explanation on that whole idea. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about here has to do with, I wouldn't call them the mafia. And I'm always not unaware, but I'm not too knowledgeable when it comes to this sort of more street level organization crime within Marvel specifically. I know Spider-Man and Wolverine sort of deal with like the Magia, and Hawkeye we saw the tracksuit mafia. So it is kind of playing on mafia and mobsters and just real crime lords. But here it's more so factions, like they mentioned, the Italians, the Russians. So it really looks like different and various ethnic groups who have all congregated in select locations. I don't know if it's just Hell's Kitchen, but it feels like all of New York in a way. So seeing like these different crime families, I'm just wondering how this is all going to play out, because in the first episode, it looked like they were having a meeting atop a building, waiting no doubt for Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, like he's the leader in a way, he's at the top of the mountain. So I'm just interested in all their roles and how they connect, and if there's any sort of gang wars and faction wars. I feel like that goes without saying, but I'm wondering where they're all going with this now that Matt has really sort of put a stake in the fire and creating a real problem for them. Because we've seen here, in this episode, they laid a trap for him. That whole section in the last episode where they kidnapped the guy's kid, Matt heard it. It was all a setup just to get to him. They want to eliminate him out of the equation. He's no longer a problem. So I can't wait to see how he really beats and antagonizes them to the point where they get desperate, because desperate people really make bad decisions and lash out. So I have the sense there that's when we'll see Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio's character, Wilson Fisk, when they really just poke the bear, in a sense, so to speak. And I just can't wait until they have that first confrontation. And it's just thinking about it in my mind, how it can all play out. I just have to sit and wait, because this show has taken a slightly different approach than what I thought it was going to be. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, you come into any show or going off from Marvel, specifically the MCU, because that's the bulk of all the Marvel content I've seen. It's pretty much for anything at this point, because there's just so many different instances where there's been a movie or show now. So they follow this formulaic approach where it's real continuity of a single storyline. But here, based on these first 2 episodes, sure, there is some connection between the two, but it's more so stringing it along as it goes, which I like that approach. This is definitely a way more fleshed out series. The episodes are longer, and it's 3 seasons, so the story is not necessarily following a one linear path. It's really diverging, so I love that. So all the possibilities that this can unfold, I'm very excited to see. And I'm just wondering, again, how these crime organizations and families, how they all play out in that regard. But that's certainly enough talking from me. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to tell me anything about the series that I missed so far within these first 2 episodes, I would love to know. And I would also like to know if anyone knows the name. I forget. Well, of course I forget its name. I can't tell you what character I'm talking about because I don't know their name. But it was the guy in the first episode who blackmailed the father on the bench in the park. He works directly for Wilson Fisk. He was talking with him on the phone. He's got the glasses and the suit. I'm wondering what his name is, because I thought he would be in this episode, but he wasn't. But I can definitely imagine that he'll be in more episodes if he's really Wilson Fisk's right-hand man. So if anyone knows the name of that particular gentleman or character, I would appreciate that. And again, I would love to know your thoughts on this episode as well. And again, I mentioned this way before we began watching. My reaction for The Boys, the episode 1 reaction, will be up on Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I will drop a new video. Again, that's every Tuesday, a new reaction for The Boys. And, well, I'm not going to announce it now, but there is another series, which I'm not going to start, but it's just a new season that I'm going to be watching again. And I'm also going to get back on track with reacting to movies. I used to do 1 per week, but then I just kind of abandoned that trend for 2 months. So I'm going to get back on that. I'm going to have to start with the Eternals, but once I finish my Eternals reaction and I have that uploaded, I'll begin watching the X-Men movies again. And that'll be sort of the next sort of series we tackle at large for movies. So hope you guys are excited for that. And again, I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. And I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments. But until then, I will catch you folks in the next video.